The Chicago Bulls get beat by the Phoenix Suns 121-117. We're going to be talking about the key takeaways from tonight's loss. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you have found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And so today we're looking at this most recent loss for the Chicago Bulls, as that is 6 straight here. And so the initial thoughts are that, look, they are now 10-13 in clutch games. And so the Chicago Bulls were right there, just couldn't find a way to get over the hump. And much like the label is on the Chicago Bulls at times, look, they are a fun bad team in this game, just like they were against the New York Knicks. And so we also saw that Vooch was able to secure another double-double. He is now 5th in the NBA, so that was good to see. Coby White went down due to an injury. It looks like an injured ankle, was able to come back, and he was impactful for the Chicago Bulls. Unfortunately, they were not able to pull it out. And so before we go ahead and jump into the box score and look at the key takeaways from tonight's game, I want to let you know that 67.5% of you that watch are not subscribed to the channel. So make sure that you go ahead and you slam dunk on that subscribe button, as it means a lot to us as we try to reach our end of the season subscriber goal. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the box score and look at the key takeaways from tonight's game. And so I want to start with the MVP of the game, and the MVP for the Chicago Bulls in tonight's game, it was Josh Giddey, because Josh Giddey, once again, like the New York Knicks game, super active, especially offensively. He was doing a great job as far as getting to his spots and hitting his runners and things like that. But more importantly, he drew a lot of contact, I should say. He was able to get to the foul line. He was 9 of 9 there at the free throw line. So he had 24 points. He had 8 rebounds. He had 10 assists in this. He also had 3 steals and a block. So defensively, the activity was there. He was +2 in the plus-minus box score, and absolutely 0 turnovers. 3 of 5 from 3, 6 of 14 from the field. And so, look, Josh Giddey quietly, look, since Zach Lavine has been traded, I think that he has really taken initiative, especially on the offensive end. And so it's been good to see that Josh Giddey has the confidence. Let's see how he finishes out with 25 games to go. So I definitely want to go ahead and give him his credit. And so next up, I think the next MVP of the night for me, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Coby White, just because of just his willingness to come back off an injured ankle, because the ankle turn did not look good. It looked like something that he wasn't going to come back from. And when he came back, he was super impactful scoring the basketball. He had 20 points in this game. He had 8 assists. He had 4 rebounds. He had a steal. He was -16, but it was his fight that I loved today with Coby White. So I got to give him some credit today. Just 2 of 8 from 3. He was 7 of 14 from the field. He had a nice and one play too as well. And so I got to give Coby White his pub for today, or his respect. And so next up, I want to go ahead and look at Modest Buzelis. And so look, Modest Buzelis, I think had a good game in this one, even though he did have to sit for obviously making some defensive mistakes out there, but he wasn't the only one, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I think he started off strong with, I think, 13 points or something like that in the first half. He finished with 15. He hit 2 free throws at the end of the game when the game was decided, but 5 of 10 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3. He played 24 minutes. He had 3 rebounds in this, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. He was -4, but I just liked how he came out and he was comfortable early on. Like, he had a nice little hesitation step back on KD. He was getting out in transition. He got a dunk there, and just loved his activity offensively. And you can just tell that he is definitely comfortable starting with the Chicago Bulls. And I'm just starting to see the runway for Modest Buzelis, that as he continues to get more chances, you can just see the sky is going to be the limit for him. And so next up with Vooch. And so look, Vooch, I talked about this at the start. The double-double, 16 and 11. He is now 5th in the NBA, so that was good to see. He started off very slow. Got it going late, 6 of 16. He was just 2 of 5 from 3. He's really kind of just cooled down a lot from the three-point land. And then it's also, too, a situation where now the team is definitely different without Zach Lavine. But I think that he played pretty well with the double-double. And so I got to give Vooch his credit there. He was just a -1 in the plus-minus box score. And then next up, the next player that I wanted to talk about was Zoe. And so, look, even though Zoe did not score the basketball a lot, didn't have a whole bunch of rebounds, he was super efficient with the plus minus box score in today's game. 1 assist, 1 block, 3 points, 3 rebounds, and the 1 block shot was great. But I loved how just the offense really ran when Zoe was out there. There were a ton of deflections where he was out there defensively, almost picking off some basketballs and things like that. And it just felt like, look, there were more than one Lonzo Ball out there. And so you love that on the defensive end with what he was giving this team. And so unfortunately didn't help the team get the win tonight, but definitely helped keep us in it. And he did play 29 minutes. And so I do think, I really do feel at some point maybe Lonzo Ball does maybe push the back-to-back limit, but we'll see what happens down the stretch and certainly going into next season. And so next up, talking about the bench performances. And so the first player that I think played very well off of the bench for me is just one of our younger guys, and that's Julian Phillips. I think that Julian Phillips, his energy was felt. I know he fouled out in this game, but I'm glad to see he got 24 minutes. He had 9 points, 3 rebounds, followed up this game after a very good one with the New York Knicks. And so he had a good game against the Knicks. I think he had a good game in this one. Unfortunately, he got into foul trouble, but the energy was there. The effort was there. And I love the fact that he is really, I think, showing that he can be maybe a corner three-point specialist. I think that that's something that could be there for Julian Phillips. And we know how good he can be athletically. Dalen Terry looked pretty good as far as in transition with his dunk that he got from Josh Giddey, which was a nice assist. He had 4 points and an assist today. Another player that played well off of the bench, you have to give him some credit because he was able to knock down some shots, but that was Kevin Huerter. Look, I'll give Kevin Huerter his credit. He scored 14. He knocked down some three-point shots. I think that he did a good job as far as just finding space. Passes were there, and he shot the ball with confidence. He was 5 of 12 from the field, 4 of 10 from 3, 30 minutes on the night. He was plus 11, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. He had a couple steals. Tre Jones, I thought that he was pretty, he was fair out there today. You could definitely see that, he's definitely a true point guard out there. He did knock down a buzzer beater at the end of the quarter. He played 14 minutes in this one, -3 overall as far as the plus-minus box score. Zac Collins, I thought, played some solid minutes. In fact, he had 10 rebounds in this and 8 points, and so that was good to see. And maybe Zac Collins is a player that you might have to pivot to a little bit more, especially if, you're moving on from Vooch and it's just him and Jalen Smith. Depending on what the situation is going to be via the draft and free agency, then Zac Collins might be a player that you have to roll with in next season. But still, it was good to see that he got some minutes. And so next up, we're talking about the box score and talking about just the key takeaways from that. And so when we look at the box score and just some of the key takeaways out of this, the Suns, look, they out-rebound the Bulls 49-45. Turnovers, the Suns lead in that department, and the Bulls actually did pretty good for the most part. They turned it over late, though, in the game. I think that was probably the costly thing about our turnovers today. But we did have a quarter where we didn't turn the basketball over, and I think that we've only had 6 on the entire year where there has not been any turnovers. And so that was good to see. Just got turnover happy towards the end of the game, which was unfortunate. 50-40 Suns points in the paint. I think that they did a good job as far as getting in there and making some baskets there. I think Plumlee and some of these guys started to really open it up late. Then you have to give the Suns, Booker, Bill, Durant, a lot of credit for the scoring that they did for the Suns tonight. Look, 9-7, the Bulls lead in steals. 4-3, the Bulls in block shots. Talked about the activity that we had with Giddey, then also too with Lonzo Ball. As far as the assist to field goal ratio, 29-41. So 29 assists to 41 field goals, not bad. 41.8% from the field, only 34% from 3. The Suns were 48.3 from the field, 33.3% from 3. And so, look, the Bulls had a chance to get this one. Unfortunately, they just were not able to pull it out. Again, this is just an example of a fun bad for this team. And I think that when you look at this ultimately, with the Bulls and the situation that they have, look, you've got to figure out a way to get to player development. You have to figure out a way to get your young guys out there. I think that anytime that you see players like Kevin Huerter getting more minutes than a guy like Buzelis who started off well, that's where it's questionable for me because, look, at the very most, this team is probably going to be in a play-in situation. They're not going to qualify for the playoffs. I think that would be amazing if they did, and I'm not saying that I necessarily want that because I don't think that this team is ready to be a serious contender at all. But I think realistically, this team is probably in a play-in situation if they were able to close the season down well. And I just think that if you're going to be in a play-in situation, you need to just go out there and play your younger talent as much as possible because you need to see exactly how you're going to build out this team in the future. And that's one of the things we talked about in this morning's video. Billy Donovan's talking about taking steps for the future, and that means that you have got to play more of Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, Buzelis. These are players that are definitely a part of your future, or, at least if they're not a part of your future, then you need to figure out how you're going to move on from them. And then the only way you do that is by playing them. And so anyway, give me, your comments out there. Let me know what you're thinking about this most recent loss with the Chicago Bulls. Should they be playing a little bit more of their younger core, or do you think that, hey, they should continue on with some players that pretty much are just established in the league? I would love to hear what you're thinking. And so, look, as we always say, go Bulls, and I will see you on the next one. All right, peace.